Hello.
Hey, Toby.
How's it going?
All right. How are you?
Doing well. Taking a break
It's been
from studying my life insurance test.
oh, yeah.
I think I'm on the
Uh,
last chapter, which is the state, and it's a long one.
yeah, I think it was. I have to renew my license. So I've got all that stuff to do by the end of the year. And I had all my power out at my office today. So that was fun. And it went out
Oh no.
and came back on and it fried my computer.
Oh really? Oh geez.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's nice. Thank you. That makes it fun. So you're studying for your test, huh?
Yeah, I've got a couple people, well, more than a couple, probably about 5 people seriously looking at the trust. Now the next step is to do the infinite banking.
Right.
Hurry up and get that
Well, that's
done.
cool. Yeah, I know we've got to follow back up on our thing. Have you heard from those guys? I know we were going to have another meeting.
Yeah, that's this weekend that he's going to Dallas or Texas, I think. I think it's Dallas.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, I'll remind him to talk about that. Did we happen to record that meeting?
I don't remember if we did or not.
It'd be good to send him that just to get a refresher on what we talked about, because that was like a month ago, 2-3 weeks ago, isn't it?
Right. It's been a while now. Oh, man.
I remember one of their pain points was the speed of which they could get funding, because when you set these policies up, it takes about 3 weeks before you can take your first withdrawal. And then I believe it's like every 10 days.
Right. I knew that the premium financing product was going to be pretty intriguing for them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, I think I've lost my mind here today. I think I left my purse at my office.
Uh-oh.
Which means I drove home without my license.
Oh, lock her up, throw away the key.
That's right. Oh, well. Did you attend the last time? Because I missed.
2 weeks ago?
Last week.
Yeah, I think it was on last week.
Yeah, because
Going over the end of the book, I believe.
Carl was on the call, I heard.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, we talked a little bit about the ABL fund, and
I was like, oh, man.
yeah.
I said, of course, I wasn't prepared to ask very good questions anyway, so it's probably best I missed it.
It's okay. Mark asked some good questions. He was trying to get it out of him. What
Yeah, he said
more about that?
Yeah, he said it was kind of funny. He was asking. Now, I have not been told otherwise, so I'm assuming that Mark is coming.
He was on a minute ago. He never unmuted, and then he must be having internet problems.
And now I can't. Okay. There we go. I'm on my cell phone, so it's a pain. So when do you think you're going to be taking your test?
Probably this week. Probably. I still got I took a break in the middle, so I probably want to go back or at least take a couple practice tests. So probably.
Yeah, who were you studying through?
AD Baker and Company.
Okay. I didn't do AD Banker. I did Exam FX. And I liked it because I could just go through it and do all the practice tests.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did.
When you first got it?
Mm-hmm. I just did practice test after practice test. Then once
Hey,
I got a 70, I was like, okay, I'm good.
Exam FX is really easy, and I believe that I had used that to get my license as well.
Did you? I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
I had
it was
a
easy.
friend that used AD Baker, and it sounded kind of weird, where like you had to actually watch the videos.
Oh yeah,
There's not a
And I
lot of,
would have been
there's no video on this one. Well, there might
really.
be a few, and they're just like a minute long, 2 minutes. Mostly is reading though, and then you take a little test in between. Get 2 marks. How's your presentation coming, Jody? For
The-
Omega.
I'm so close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I was actually doing a lot of research. I'm in a community called Search Funder, and through that community, I can get like industry reports for free. So I did the life insurance industry, and it was really cool. It has so much information, so it's really helpful.
Nice.
She was sharing some of that with me last week, and it was pretty amazing, some of the data that was coming out of that.
Yeah. Hi, Mark.
Hi. So this is the second time in a row I've had technical problems just getting onto the meeting. So anyway,
Well,
I think I'm here.
I was telling Toby I had technical problems too at my office. The power's out.
Oh, okay.
And it fried my computer.
No. Oh,
like
man.
sparks were coming out of it. I'm like, oh man. Not that it's an expensive computer, but it's just not something I want to go buy right now.
Yeah, it's like, that's just a real pain in the patoot.
It is. But
Mm-hmm.
what you gonna do?
Yeah. Well, since we were talking about life insurance just a second ago, let me just ask you guys, did you get the numerical and statistical analysis that I copied you guys on?
I did, Mark, and I'm so sorry I didn't respond.
Oh, that's okay. I just want to make sure you got it. And if you have any questions, I know, Jody, you and I probably need to look at that together briefly enough to decide which of those measurements we want to put into the pitch deck, or do we want to just kind of do like Ben did and create a page where we put the whole thing in?
Right.
Did you send it by email, or how did you send that?
Oh, I sent the link to a number of people. I didn't send it to everybody. I just sent it to some people that were working on this pitch deck together.
Okay.
But what I did, just for the sake of understanding Anthony and Frenchie, is I took that page out of the book, and I don't have the book in front of me. I think it's page 79, I believe, and recreated that on a spreadsheet. And then in recreating it on the spreadsheet, basically I used the same formulas that Ben used to compare and contrast his Adagio ABL to the S&P 500, and then later on to a very high performing real estate investment trust, a REIT. And so he compared, Adagio's performance back, all the way past, I think to 2007 or 2005, I don't remember exactly, and then compared to their performances. And so what I did was I took data from the life insurance industry. I was able to go back 43 years. The further back you can go, the better, right? And so I was wanting to go back 100 years, but I couldn't find data for past 43. And a lot of that data was, shall I say, hypothecated or interpolated data. So in other words, I was missing, say, a year's worth of data, and I looked at the data on the front end and the back end, and essentially made a statistical guess as to what the data for the missing year might have been. And so I did some of that. And of course, then compared it to Adagio, which then I had to create a back-tested source of data that goes back 43 years, even though they don't go 43 years back. And so you create a back-tested approach, and hopefully that was correct. I'm hoping Ben will tell me that the analysis and the data creation that I did was correct when it comes to back-testing data. But then with that, then I took the analysis that was on page 79, I believe, or 92, I don't remember, in the book, and ran it through the same formulas then that Ben ran it through when he was doing his analysis on Adagio versus S&P 500 versus this real estate trust. And so what I was doing was comparing our Omega insurance returns to the historic returns of a mutual life insurance policy that was typical for the industry to see how it compares. And needless to say, we creamed them, but not by as much as you can cream the S&P or real estate.
Really?
Yeah. By the time you add the cash value accumulation and the mutual dividends together, now this is unique. We handicapped ourselves here deliberately. We handicapped ourselves because the mutual life insurance companies, as a result, tend to pay more than just a straight up stock life insurance company that pays cash value alone. Because in the mutual companies, the life insurance insureds are owners in the company. And so they're getting a share of company profits on top of their cash value.
But you know what, Mark? I think a lot of the life insurance companies have demutualized.
That may very well be true, which again, assuming that's true, then we handicapped ourselves just the same to be conservative, meaning that if we can crush a mutual company, we can certainly crush a stock company.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
That's the data that I've come across. Like,
Okay.
MetLife used to be a mutual, and they've demutualized themselves, and so a lot of them are traded now on the stock exchange.
Okay,
which I find interesting.
I did get late teens and early 20s data from a number of mutual companies. That's how I was able to come up with an industry standard for the last 5-6 years. So there are still enough mutual companies to create a mutual company database, if you will.
Right.
But you're right. I didn't know this because a lot of those companies had data falling off, meaning that somewhere around 2015, 2016, they no longer supplied data to the mutual company data set. And MetLife was probably one of them. That's probably a good explanation for why their data dropped off, because they're no longer a mutual company.
Yeah, I think MetLife actually did it around 2000.
Okay, maybe
that's what I read. And by the way, just so everyone knows, because Naples was hit pretty hard from Ian, I did text Ben on Friday. He said he was safe. They had evacuated, but I haven't checked in with him since to see if he's gone back to see the damage. But
now,
he
Naples
was in
on the west coast there by Fort Myers.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Gulf
I
side,
believe.
just south of, about an hour south of Fort Myers.
And what I've heard, I have friends that have family there. They say it's like a nuclear bomb went off.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of the images. Yep.
So hopefully Ben's house and everything is okay and he's okay, but I haven't wanted to bother him. I'm sure it's pretty overwhelming.
Sure. At this point in time, you kind of got to just let him contact us when he's ready, given that he's probably out there, cutting down trees and cutting up trees and, making some house repairs.
I don't know what they do with the water. Like I was still seeing lots of water.
Yeah, the water has to go back. Got to go back into its pool.
Yeah. So as of Friday, he was safe. Thought I would just pass that on.
I never thought I'd see anything worse than Japan, but when I saw the pictures of Naples, Florida, I said, wow, it looks almost exactly the same.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
always a shock. It's always a shock
Yeah.
to the system. It's interesting. Back in 1992, 30 years ago, I was on one of the last planes out of Miami in front of Hurricane Andrew. And Hurricane Andrew literally hit about the time I was landing in Orlando. And so I quite literally, I was one of the last planes out of the Miami-Dade airport. And I remember going back and looking at the pictures of Holiday, Florida, which was the hardest hit, I think, in Hurricane Andrew back then, and being shocked, like you said, Frenchie, at the images and going, wow, I was just there. I mean, I was there literally, 24 hours before. And then to see it, the devastation, it's amazing. It's amazing how they can rebuild. And it's amazing to me how they stay. But
Yeah.
Right.
they do.
Well, I mean, you have to take into consideration that whenever people, I guess, when they retire or when they move, the migration is always to where?
South Florida.
Where it's warm.
Florida.
Warm.
That's where everybody goes.
Yep.
That's where everybody goes.
Yep.
I've been there. I like it. I had a timeshare in West Palm Beach.
Mm-hmm.
But but when you see it, you see everybody's pool covered with the glass screens and from the heat and insects. I'm like, well, it's a nice place, but do you want to live like that? Not me personally. It's the people like it. They love it. But come on. Really?
Yeah. I lived in Orlando for a number of years, thoroughly enjoyed it. But yeah, I look at like what you talk about. I look at that image and I go, I wouldn't want that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had the pool. Oh my goodness, I spent more time keeping that pool clean and
I'm on a call.
swimmable for my kids and my family than I did anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like,
Exactly.
no, I don't want a pool anymore.
But that's where everybody goes.
That's where they go. Yeah.
What is it? I'm trying to take a trip there because I've never seen, everybody talks about Boca Raton,
Mm-hmm.
and I've always wanted to go and see what it's like. I have this big investor that just retired and moved there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm like, let me go see it and check it out.
Yeah. Hey, I just noticed we have a new face here joining us today, and he's somebody that I've been wanting to talk to for the longest time. Zach, it's good to have you on the meeting today. I remember back probably 6 or 7 months, 8 months ago, maybe. You were on a meeting with Ben, and you're muted still.
Yeah, I think he's on another call.
Oh, okay. Maybe he's on another call.
Yeah.
So maybe he can just introduce himself a little bit when he gets off that call. But I definitely want to hear more about some of his tax strategies because some of the things that we've talked about, and I know, Toby, we're dealing with some good tax strategies with respect to this life insurance group and things like that. For those that maybe are approaching this a little bit differently, some of Zach's ideas, I think, are phenomenal. And
Is
so,
that around the 701?
Huh?
Is that around the 701?
I don't know. We'll have to probe a little bit.
Yeah.
And go beyond the shameless plug, as it were, and just to see what he can share with us about what they do. Maybe give us some examples and how we might apply this to some people who we're wanting to attract as investors into our respective funds.
Mhm.
So I'm glad to see he's on the call, and we'll definitely pick his brain when he's available.
Yeah, I've heard about it quite a few years ago, but I'm starting to hear more talk about it now, more
Okay.
recently than I have in the past.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, good. Anthony, you're on. Did you by chance get an opportunity to talk a little bit more with Carl after last week about your ideas with respect to investing in promissory notes? Did Did you and
Uh,
Carl by chance kind of clarify anything there? I'm interested to know because I was quite fascinated with the concept of your idea.
no, I did not, but I have talked to about 3 other attorneys since last week.
Mhm.
And it is possible. There's a couple of different ways I can do it. One would be really, really cheap, and that's with and what this group primarily does, they help people set up their business. So I don't know how they're setting it up. They set up to like 20 million, and it only can be friends and family. So I don't know what kind of offering that would be. I got to get more clarification from them. But because if I can't include my current clients, then that's not something I would look,
Okay.
towards to do.
So let's
Um,
unpack a couple of things that they told you real quick. If they told
Okay.
you that it's limited to friends and family, what do you think is the legal section of Reg D that they would probably most likely be coming under?
Probably 506B is what I'm thinking.
Yep. 506B, a 506A if you do the investment club,
Mhm.
or a 504 with some limitations on how much you can raise, which, seeing that there's a limitation there on how much you can raise, my guess is it might even be a 504. Now, I'm not an attorney.
Right.
I
Yeah.
just play one on TV, right?
Yeah.
But just those are some hints that when you're talking to your attorneys, those are some hints that they're giving you as to which sections apply to what they're doing.
Yeah. He
And I
said,
think you nailed it.
yeah, but he said if I wanted to do more than 20 million, then I would have to use another attorney, another outfit to do it, because they're only they typically only do um setting up business organizations. And I'll
Mhm.
tell you the name of the company that I spoke with. Um, I think they're called Nevada Corporate Headquarters.
Mhm.
Um, so that they just basically set up corporations for people.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought I heard that name before.
And they're based out of Nevada, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
They probably
he told me
function
that,
as registered agents and that kind of thing.
yeah, all of that, all of that.
Okay.
But they just told, I believe he said that the cost would be like 2,500 for the paper on that.
Mm,
And that's outside of setting up your entities and all of that.
right.
So,
Are they actually selling the paper as well that you're looking at buying, the promissory notes? Are they acting as intermediaries in that?
no, they're not, they don't have anything to do with that.
Oh, okay. That's
I
somebody else.
still have a couple different companies that I've been looking at to place my clients' funds in. And also I've been looking at as a strategy, as a fund strategy, hard money loans.
Mhm.
Because I believe that's going to be real popular here again in the next 6 to 8 months when all these foreclosures and all these houses come on the market. I mean, it's going to be crazy again. So,
Mhm.
I
Well, that's
really,
something that Ben definitely knows something about, and so does
yeah,
Carl.
yeah,
Well,
I
I
know,
wouldn't,
I know.
6 to 8 months. What about now?
Mhm.
I mean, now's good too, but I still need time to get myself together. That's all.
Okay. And I wouldn't, I don't know, the Nevada Corporation, I don't know what their credentials are in giving you advice on how to structure that. For them giving you that kind of advice, I'm a little skeptical on that.
So Anthony, I think of all the people here, you're one of the people that's probably closest to being able to complete the setup of a fund. And the reason why I say that is because on a number of occasions, you've mentioned that you already have a ready, steady client base, an affiliate or what am I thinking of? There's the word for it.
A
I'll think
group
of
of
it.
investors.
But yeah, a group of potential investors. Now, admittedly, they're not credited. So that means you're going to want to lean toward a 506A or a 504, depending on how big this group is. But my question is how close are you to putting together a standardized pitch deck that would speak to your base, and you're ready to send that pitch deck out to your base as a way of just simply running a trial balloon up and saying, hey, is this something you guys might be interested in?
Um, I'd say probably about 30 days or less.
Okay,
Just because I'm still, what I'm gonna do tonight is I'm gonna write down all of the strategies that I have in my head. Now,
okay.
the notes is one strategy, hard money loans, I guess that kind of falls into the same thing.
Mhm,
But I'm just gonna write in all my strategies and get that together and pinpoint, which one I really want to do for my clients.
mhm.
And then also I was just looking at that letter that you had sent me. I forget what you call it. The
Oh, the soft commit letter. Mhm,
yep, the soft commit letter. So been looking at that, going back and forth in my head how to word it or how to add things in. So I say within about 30 days. I'm still putting a little bit of money to the side. But the reason why I have clients is just because of what I do. That's what I do every day.
mhm. Sure,
I
sure.
mostly sell annuities. And I have bank products that I can sell people. So, after banks, there's annuities, and after annuities, there's funds, because the
Mhm,
funds are going to be able to bring my clients better returns than the annuities. Now, there's more risk with the funds, but there's also better return for my clients. Whereas the
mhm,
banks, they can't compete at all.
mhm.
Some banks are still offering less than 1%. So
Sure. So then hopefully maybe within the next couple of weeks, we'll be able to have you pitch to us your pitch deck that you're going to send out to this group of clients. And we'll be able to watch you pitch it and see what kind of feedback we have for you.
yeah,
Maybe.
sure. Yeah, once I get everything together, um,
Okay.
I don't have a problem with sharing it with everybody. Yeah, sure.
Okay. I'm just thinking in terms of just being able to practice going through it. Something about practicing it all of a sudden turns on a light bulb in your mind and in your soul that says, "Hey, I can tell people about this now."
Yeah,
And when once you realize that, you actually start doing it. Um,
yeah,
until you do it in front of a friendly audience like us, you're always kind of hanging back on, I don't know, will this work? Will it not? I mean, is there, will people laugh at me?
yeah.
That kind of thing. And so
Well,
if
well,
you're
then let
pretty
me.
close, let's go for it.
Well, I'll just ask you this. I mean, it's not on the pitch deck, but so let me pull up my notes. I'll just ask you this real quick.
Okay.
So if you saw an offer, here's 4 different tiers that I'm looking at. So I have a 9-month investment that would pay 5% APY. The minimum would be 25,000. 6% on 3 years. The minimum is 25,000. 8% on 3 years. Minimum is 100,000. Then 10% on 3 years. The minimum is 250,000.
Okay.
I mean, I'd say that's reasonable interest for times of today.
Mhm. That is very reasonable, and it's a good rate. But given that you'll probably end up putting a big chunk of your airbags into Adagio, which can pay you a much higher rate, what do you think about making it more exciting for them?
The only thing, but that's why I asked the other week, does Ben have a fixed rate? So I know what I can offer my clients and what I can keep for myself versus, I guess, setting it up as a traditional fund and charging
Mhm.
2% and 20.
Right. What do you think, guys? Toby, Jody, Frenchie, what do you guys think? Would you go with that rate, or would you push it higher? And do you feel like Adagio's structured products could get him the higher return?
I'd say Adagio, the other point is that you're focused too. You only have pretty much, and I'm not discounting the other things he was talking about, but at least you have a one focus objective. And then because when you start offering many other, and I've heard this in the past, when you start offering many other products and things, sometimes it can get convoluted. And
Mhm.
then, when you can stay with one thing and be focused on that, I think a lot of investors appreciate that. And that way it keeps them focused on where you are too.
Anthony, I've heard you mention two of your products that you're looking at. You're looking at the purchasing of promissory notes, and you're looking at some kind of hard money lending arrangement. And those are both, shall we say, debt-based products. And so one of the things you might do, based on what Frenchie's suggesting, is just keep your discussion to in your pitch deck and to your clients as being a fixed income fund, you know, specializing in debt structured products. And then what that does is it leaves you free to focus on these promissory notes or hard money loans or any other kinds of fixed income debt-based products. And so I wouldn't necessarily try to go into a lot of detail on those specific things, because now you're getting into the weeds and people will want to pick that apart and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you just describe it as a debt-based fixed income fund, then people are expecting you to basically invest in, you know, loans and different things like that.
Right.
Yeah, Mark, if I can interject.
Yeah.
I know you and I had actually exchanged messages, but we still haven't connected for some reason.
Yes, thank you for joining us. I introduced you to the group.
Yeah,
you were on another
I was just putting
conversation.
out some fires. I have so much going on, so many deals, so much this, so much that. It just gets so swamped. But yeah, I would love to talk to Frenchie about this. I'm actually launching a hedge fund right now. I'm raising $200 million. And I think, Mark, the last time what you liked about what I said on one of these conference calls, it was, in fact, I just talked to Benjamin literally an hour and a half ago. He seemed calm as a cucumber. He didn't seem like things went haywire in his backyard. So he was
Well, that's
cool
good to know. That's a good update.
Yeah, he was fine. He was laughing, talking. We just scheduled for next Tuesday. I'm supposed to speak with him. But getting back to my fund, so my fund is called the Beacon Fund. Just a quick intro for the group. I mean, we have some very highly accomplished people on this group, and I love joining these, especially the live sessions when I can get to them. So I'm a private wealth manager by training, and what I've done is, to get to the discussion that you and Frenchie were just having, is that I'm enticing my investors to come into my fund, and with every dollar that they invest in my fund, they get 100% income tax deduction up to $10 million, or capital gains tax deduction, unlimited. So they could be selling personal property, real property, or any money they contribute into my fund. So for example, if somebody made $300,000, they invest 100 grand, they only pay taxes on 200,000. So this is advanced tax planning that my RIA, so I also own a registered investment advisory firm. So we do the tax planning at that part, and then the money filters through the private wealth management firm into my Beacon Fund. And we are really, the higher income earner the person is, the more excited they get. And like I said, up to 10 million bucks, we can wipe out their every single income tax liability. So now coming full circle to Frenchie, I'm sorry you missed it. I just hung up on a call. If you're either looking to start a fund, but I already have the paperwork ready to go, and I'm just out, basically raising money right now, I would love for you to join me instead of you starting your own fund. If you like, please reach out to me, and I'd love to have you maybe become a co-GP with me and see what firepower you bring into the party. But anyway, my fund is a Reg D 506C 3C5. It's another solid variation. And I believe, Mark, I may have heard you speak about a 3C5 fund a couple of weeks ago. I was listening to a recording that I think you had done. Did you talk about a 3C5, or was it somebody else?
It might have been somebody else, because to be perfectly honest, I don't know what a 3C5 is.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay. Yeah, 3C5 is just another specialty inside of a 506C. It's just like an option. It's a very niche type of system. So basically the SEC requires that 55% of the fund invests in either real estate or real estate related, AKA distressed notes, promissory notes, distressed assets, so on and so forth, or hard real estate. So 55% of my fund does that. A portion of my fund does invest in growth oriented businesses, right? So somebody wants to buy another Dunkin' Donuts, another McDonald's, another Chick-fil-A franchise, or something established, but something cash flowing. And I have a micro strategy of about 15% in my fund that invests in blockchain technology, especially mining. So the top five miners, we invest in that. And I have a very, very successful technology guy who's actually now a co-GP with me out of San Francisco, who actually started his own metaverse. So he has his own metaverse, and I was lucky enough to kind of get him on my advisory board as well as a
Wow.
partner. But I think
Wow.
this is something, and I speak, I mean, I have 30 licenses and designations. So I can speak to you about taxes till the cows come home and then go back out to graze again.
So Anthony, here's somebody that
Yeah.
is speaking to your heart there, because he's talking about some fixed income instruments similar to yours that he's already moving in. And so here's an opportunity perhaps to either pick his brain or partner with him or have him work with you or something to that effect, to see what you can do to bring this to your constituency.
Yeah, and
Sure.
I'm located in Dallas, guys, by the way.
Hey,
Okay.
Zach,
Yes,
I'm curious on your wealth planning side, do you do anything with life insurance?
of course. I have 30 licenses. I used to be a huge life insurance producer back in the day. But yeah, we do life insurance when it's needed. Are you guys more focused on infinite banking type stuff? Is that what your focus is?
Mhm.
Okay.
It's part of
No.
it, yeah.
But
We're-
what's the
we're-
thrust of you? What do you use life insurance for?
Well, what we're wanting to do is create a kind of a new category within life insurance and attach, the Adagio products into the cash value portion of the life insurance. So we have hedge fund returns within the.
What you're talking about is a private placement life insurance. That's what you're talking about. So
Yeah.
are you familiar with PPLIs?
Yes. Mhm.
Getting more so.
Okay. So let me give you guys an even killer strategy which sits on top of PPLI. You ready?
Mhm.
Are you guys sure you're ready? Because what I'm about to share with you, you'll fall off your chairs. Okay.
Okay.
But
Bring it.
before I tell you, this is a collective question to all people here who understand life insurance or understand taxation, okay? Now, here's the $1 million question first. The premium that you put inside of a life insurance policy, doesn't matter what it is, PPLI, whole life, UL, doesn't matter. Is that premium tax deductible? Yes or no?
Probably only if you structure
Thanks.
it through some kind of entity like a trust or a company or something.
Yep, no, not true. Okay, so both those answers
Okay.
would not work, Mark. That's not available. Anybody, any
Okay.
other takers?
Well, you said
Anybody?
you said if it's tax deductible, but the funds you put in are supposed to be after tax funds, isn't it?
You got it. So, but I'm just saying, can you make it pre-tax? That's my question.
Yeah.
Can you make it pre-tax? So
Would it
It
be
comes from an
business?
Uncle
employer.
Sam
You
pays for it.
should. You
You
should.
can have, you can have a
Okay.
trust pay the premium for you.
Well, no, that's an estate planning thing. What you're referring to is a rabbi trust. That's what you're referring to. That's an estate planning. So anytime you say the word trust, that in context of life insurance or either an irrevocable life insurance trust or a rabbi trust, those are the only two trusts that work with life insurance. But that's not even my question. Again, those are estate planning strategies. I'm
Mhm.
talking about income tax planning. How do I get my money in there? I want to get in
Pre-tax
ideally,
dollars.
Tax.
I want to
Yeah,
get in
right.
pre-tax.
Oh,
I
you'd
want
have
Uncle
to-
Sam to pay part of the VIG.
Well, then
I want
you
Uncle
have to
Sam
put it. Then you have to put it in before it comes to you. Then, right before you.
So my
touch it.
question to you is, right, obviously, that's what we all want. So my question
Something
again
like
to all of
a
you, are
solo
the premiums?
401k.
No, 401ks have nothing to do with life insurance. Different tax thing.
I'm only thinking just getting your company to pay for it for
Yeah,
you.
right. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Somehow.
Yeah, having
That's
your own
what I was
company.
thinking too, Mark.
I got it. But guys, that's still not pre-tax. It's
Hmm.
somebody else paying for it. I'm talking about pre-tax. And when your company pays for it, they have to send you a 1099 for it.
Right.
Okay, it's called
Okay.
executive bonus life insurance. So that's what you're talking about.
Oh,
It's
Okay.
called
Alright.
executive bonus life insurance.
We give
So-
up. We give.
So we
We
give
give.
up. We drop
Just check
money.
it. Okay, just check. So here's the thing. Life insurance premium is never is tax deductible, except if you utilize a very advanced tax strategy that was introduced by President Trump under Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017.
Okay.
So we are now able to make the premiums pre-tax going into life insurance. So now
Okay.
let's stop and think about it for a second, okay?
Wow.
Somebody, $100,000 a year.
Wow, that's big.
What tax bracket would you put them in? Just pick a number that you guys are comfortable with. What tax
38,
bracket?
38,
39.
Okay, 28, 30%. That's really where
Right.
this person would fall. So
That's-
30%, right? So just for simple math, although what I'm about to say is not an accurate number, but let's say if the person was in a 30% marginal income tax bracket, federal only, nothing to do with the state. State could be
Right.
separate, right? Because northeastern states have state taxes and southeast and Midwest do not. Federal level, 30%. So 100,000 income, you pay taxes, let's just suppose at 30%, how much are you left with? 70
70.
grand, right? Because you pay 30 grand in taxes. Now imagine if we were to take the 30 grand that you were forced to write a check to the IRS, and I can show you how you can make that pre-tax.
Mhm.
So you still pay tax on 70 grand instead of 100 grand, and that 30 grand that you were paying taxes on goes right to your life insurance policy. So Jody, that
Some
is
kind
something
of
that I
COLI?
can help you guys with, pump millions of dollars into life insurance if that's what your goal is. So I've been working with a lot of these infinite banking guys, and what's the problem with infinite banking? The 7-pay test, the 7-pay. The
Mhm.
person may, there's multiple problems. The first problem is
It's one of them.
the person may not have enough discretionary income to pump enough money into the policy, right? To have enough of a fat check in there, number one. Number two, it takes a long time to build that, right? 5, 7, 10 years to have this infinite banking really work the way they talk about it working.
Mhm.
Correct me if I'm wrong at any time, guys, please. This is an open discussion. I apologize. I feel like I'm interjecting and can't shut up.
No, this is great.
No, this is
No,
awesome.
no, Mark was setting you up while you're on the other call.
Yeah. Is this a
So the
form of
problem-
COLI? Corporate owned life insurance? Or is
No,
that
corporate, again, the
No,
problem
he
is,
totally
we're
blew that
talking-
out. And I was
we're
trying to,
talking taxes here,
Okay.
guys.
You did
We're
say
not
that.
talking COLI, BOLI, TOLI, SOLI, which is stranger-owned life insurance. We're not talking about none of these things. We're talking about income taxation only. How do I get my money in the policy? COLI, BOLI, FOLI, all this other jazz is who owns the policy. That's all that is.
Mhm.
That has to do with either the death benefit becomes taxable or not taxable. Again, that's a later issue. I'm on
So
first
is-
base here.
So is what you're talking about involving a component of the PPLI strategy?
Nothing. PPLI is just, you choose to connect PPLI. You could choose to connect the IUL. You could choose to connect term insurance. You could connect
Oh.
anything you want.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Mhm. How about
I'm talking
premium
about-
finance?
Again, premium is how you pay the premium because you don't have
Mhm.
enough of your own money. So you do
Okay.
premium finance because you're a very wealthy person. You're about a $50 million policy. Premium is 500,000 a year. Hey, I'm not going to pay 500,000 out of my pocket. I'll go premium finance it. So again, nothing to do with taxation. It's how you pay. You see what I mean? I'm
Mhm,
focused
yeah.
just on taxation, which is at the heart of everything.
Mhm.
Because if you don't capture the tax component, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
So again, going back to my example, person makes, again, 100,000, whatever the heck they make, they're in we're arbitrarily saying they're a 30% bracket. They could be in a 50% tax bracket, whatever.
Mhm.
But the money that they were going to send over to Uncle Sam is now working for them inside of this policy.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
now imagine all of you guys are my clients and I come to you and I say, guys, your premium is $30,000. You make $100,000 a year. Your premium is 30,000 or 2,500 bucks a month.
Mhm.
You're probably going to have a hard time with that premium. I'm telling you right now, because it's 30% of your income. You're like, dude,
Mhm.
I got bills to pay. I got a wife. I got a kid. I got a mortgage. I got car payments. I got utility bills. What are you talking about? I can afford maybe $100 a month, not 2,500 a month. That's 30%. And by the way, this 100,000, trust me, I work with millionaires, multimillionaires, and even billionaires, right? The same exact problem, same exact. I'm right now doing a $300 million loan for a client, right? The guy's a billionaire, it's worth 1.3 billion. Same discussion. So just because I say 100,000, trust me, the $100,000 guy has the exact same problems that a guy who has $1 billion, just more zeros, identical, I assure you, right? So coming back, this $30,000, if I was to say to the same person who makes this $100,000 income, right? Say, hey, you have to pay income taxes, right? You can say, yeah. What happens if you don't pay income taxes? Well, the IRS comes and takes all my stuff, right? and maybe put you in jail, depending on the mood they're in. And now they're going to be coming in with guns blazing and SWAT team following them, right? So thank you, President Biden. So,
Yeah.
right. So now imagine if we utilize the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act and the same 30,000 that you are obligated to pay, that your employer is taking out of your paycheck.
I was gonna say, they're
Right.
withholding it anyway, yeah.
They're withholding it, right? That money's still going out. You just don't see it, but you're still paying it at the end of the day. But imagine if we can divert those dollars from the IRS into your life insurance policy. Now, remember, you are the guy who only makes $100,000 a year. Would you buy that policy?
Oh,
Well, of course I would. It's a no-brainer.
Why would you
Of
buy the
course.
policy? But why? Because somebody else is paying for it. Uncle Sam is paying for
Uncle
it.
Sam is paying
Right.
for it, yeah.
Oh,
So
I see.
that's the
Yeah.
sex appeal that I want to show you guys if you're interested.
Mhm.
And
Little
let me
bit.
give you my website, guys. There are many, many other ideas on my website. I mean, this billionaire I'm talking about, he's from Houston. I was just talking to him. Today's Tuesday. Last Tuesday, I think I was talking to him. Within 15 minutes of me just explaining, kind of rattling this off, like I was on a Zoom call, the guy said to me, listen, catch a plane. It's a 10-minute flight ride. Come and see me tomorrow. I need to see you now. I was like, I've never had anybody this excited this quick. I'm like, I'm coming. You got to pay for it.
That-
Especially about taxes.
That's interesting because a moment ago they were trying to sort of pick at the insurance policy because they thought a lot of wealthy people were using it as a tax haven, and they were going after it for a minute.
Yeah, let me just tell you, that's just all ploy. Every single congressman is a multimillionaire.
Yeah, no.
Everything
yeah,
I'm talking about, they're
Yeah,
never going to pass a law that's going to hurt their
Hurt
own wealth.
themselves,
It's
right.
just for show. It's just to scare the
Mhm.
little guy, just to rattle it, just to make it sound like, well, the wealthy people are the evil, yet they're looking in the mirror the whole
Mhm,
time,
right,
right? Because they are the wealthy people.
right.
Listen, President Obama was the least wealthy congressman. He was only worth about $2 million when he walked into the White House. 8 years later, when he walked out, do you know what his net worth is right now? Any guesses?
75 million.
Last count, somebody said 300 million, but who
It's
knows?
getting
75
100.
million
Really?
is still a
Wow.
far cry from 2 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess the government pay. He's such a savvy investor that at $175,000, president's salary, he was able to make that into 75 million, 300 million, whatever, right? After a certain amount, it's just zeros, right? Because the effect is the same. You can buy anything, you can go anywhere. So I'm trying to be facetious here, obviously, right? I'm not
Mhm.
serious. I'm not giving him so much kudos on his investing
So
skills.
savvy.
So the point is that they would never pass laws because, again, living in America, nobody is above the law.
Mhm.
So if nobody's above the law, why don't we just pass laws that work for us? So
Mhm.
anyway, that's my little presentation. But if you like, I'd love to share my website with you if that's okay, Mark. To
Yes,
share with the
please.
group.
Yes.
Okay, my website is www.saber, S-A-B as in boy, U-R, PWM, privatewealthmanagement.com. So saberpwm.com. SABURPWM.com.
Okay.
So there are
Got it.
several other ideas on there that if I could help you guys, please reach out to me. My number I just put in the chat. If somebody wants to grab it, please grab my cell phone, text me, call me. We're all part of the same community. We're part of the same family. If I can help you guys get ahead and help you guys be in a zero income tax bracket, zero income tax, guys, you can make $10 million a year. I'll put you in a zero income tax. And for those of you who want to be hedge fund managers or are hedge fund managers, I work and advise 9 hedge fund managers right now. And I keep them in a zero income tax. So what happens is, as a hedge fund manager, just one last quick comment. I'm sorry for being so long-winded. For hedge fund managers, as you know, the carry or your carry, the profit that you take off the investment is taxed at a favorable 20%, right? But
Mhm.
imagine if I can make that 20% zero. So you take that 20% again that you were going to write a check to Uncle Sam for, you invest in your own fund as an LP. So you're a GP and an LP in the same
Mhm.
thing. How cool is that?
Mark, we've talked about that, haven't we, Mark?
Oh, yeah, we have. And this gives you the greater incentive to do it.
Right.
I didn't know you. I didn't know you can do both. I didn't know.
Yeah.
You could do both.
Yeah,
Oh
you
yeah,
can.
you could be a GP LP in the same fund. Yeah.
Okay.
Because as a GP, you can certainly invest your own money into the limited
Yeah, into the
partnership.
fund. Yeah, as
Yeah.
an LP. Yeah.
In fact,
I mean, you could
one of the things-
theoretically, you can have a one-person hedge fund. You could be a
Mhm.
GP and LP in the same fund, and you could build your track record, and then over time, you acquire more investors.
Mhm.
you know, one of the things you can do if you're like Anthony here and you're paying such a conservative return, if you're making, you know, 5 times that or 10 times that, you can always cap the return, and then the difference is the funds to keep, which basically is yours. And you
Yeah,
can
and let me
charge
tell
them
you,
to
Mark,
invest it as an LP.
exactly,
Yeah.
Mark, you bring up a fabulous point, because in my fund, so I offer a 9% preferred return,
Mhm.
and up to a 30% return, it's a 70-30 split. So 70% for the LP, the investor, 30% for me. But
Mhm.
remember, I just talked about a pre-tax investing strategy.
Mhm.
So if you're in a 30% income tax bracket, and I do the tax planning for you, I just made you 30% on your money, didn't I? Because
Mhm.
you're not paying any taxes, right?
Yeah.
A
Right.
dollar saved is a dollar earned. Same
Mhm.
difference, right? So
Right.
guess what happens? I have now actually satisfied my 30% requirement. So from $1 that I generated in my fund, I split the yield 50-50.
Mhm.
So
That's
just a little
amazing.
trick for those of you fund managers, where by utilizing the tax strategy, we are able to overcome that first hurdle. Hey, after 30%
On
is
the
50-50,
waterfall. Yeah.
in my waterfall, I'm hopping it in the first go.
Wow. That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
So
I
it's pretty
definitely
sexy
want to
stuff.
learn some more about that.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
I have
definitely-
a dozen ideas I can talk about. I've been doing this since I was 18 years old. I have 30 licenses. Like I said, every license you can imagine. I have dozens of certifications, and I can show some really cool things.
What's the one they're talking about now, the self-directed IRA?
Yeah, just garbage.
Yeah, what is it called? Is it what? I can't remember what it's called.
That's what it's called. It's called a self-directed
called.
IRA. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
Checkbook
yeah,
IRA.
yeah, there's a name they have for it. But yeah, but that's because that way, the reason why they're using that is because you don't, obviously you can write your own checks. You don't need a custodian or anything. You do everything yourself.
Okay, you talk about self-custody IRA. No, there's no such thing. I mean, a self-directed IRA, you have to have a custodian watch over it.
Well, there's the one that I'm talking about saying that you don't have to have one. You
Okay,
do,
well,
you handle
that
it
remains to be
yourself.
debated. But here's the problem with that, Frenchie,
Uh-huh.
that the first year you can only put away $6,500 inside of a self-directed IRA. I mean,
Okay.
and what's
Well,
$6,500?
Yeah, but I think this one, I think the limit is higher. That's why I was looking into
Oh,
it.
No
might be a
such.
solo-
Number one,
solo
I didn't
K.
want a custodian, and number two was you can put in a higher rate. That's why I was looking into it. Hold on, go ahead. You can talk
Oh,
about
sure.
it. Let me find the book.
Yeah. Please find it. But yeah, maybe you're referring to a solo 401k, and then you can flip it into a self-directed IRA if you want. But limitations are so little. Like even in a solo 401k with a profit sharing component, you can only put away $68,000 a year. And if you want to talk about big money, I mean, what's 68 grand? It's not
we're
much
talking these
money.
funds, you're talking millions, and so you're
Oh
way
yeah, I mean,
beyond this.
that's no comparison. But
So I'm here to help you guys play the game at a very, very high level.
Yeah.
And especially the tax carrot is so juicy and so attractive that I tell my fund managers, I say, listen, talk about your fund strategy first, then say, hey, by the way, every dollar you invest in us, you get tax deductibility. And you'll see immediately they'll forget what the heck your fund even does. They'll say, just give me the damn tax strategy. It's that juicy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
No,
happens
that's-
all the time. People are just literally drooling at the mouth. They're like, just take my money. And I'm like, well, I'll hook you up with Zach. But when we do this tax right, you're going to give me your money. They're like, you got it. Take my money. And
Yeah.
that's how mine, I mean, every week I do conference calls with like it would be like 10 investors, right?
Mhm.
And let's say, Mark, you're the fund manager, you'd be hosting the call. And I would kind of go through a certain presentation, a little bit more elongated than what I just did.
Mhm.
And then at the end of the call, like most of the time, half of them are like, hey, Mark, where do I send the money? Like,
Yeah, where do I send the
I
check?
have a tax bill
Yeah.
coming. Where do I send the money? And it's like that easy. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. To me, it's like I crack up every single time it happens. It's so like predictable now. It's crazy. So Jody, if you or
I was gonna
Anthony,
say, Jody, are you shocked?
No, I'm excited.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well,
I'm
this is what I was
excited
trying to tell you
because-
way back months ago that I had heard Zach on this one meeting we had with Ben and Carl, and there were some other
Right.
people talking,
Right.
and Zach jumped on and he just basically said, I can totally enhance this. And I was all ears, you know, and I knew that it wasn't Zach's meeting, but that's why I reached out to you, Zach, afterwards. I said, Zach, we gotta talk, because
Yeah, yeah.
I want to do this, but I want to be able to get off of this.
And even all of you guys here who actually own personally life insurance right now, that you're paying premiums out of pocket, and that you may have had a policy 5-10 years. I just did a deal for a guy. He's actually a lawyer by training. He's really an investment banker, but he's a lawyer. He's a Chinese guy. I was just talking to him 2 days ago. He pays $400,000 a year in premium for his life policies. $400,000.
Wow.
He has other reasons for it. So not for life insurance, just for the,
Mhm.
you know, for many other
Cash value.
purposes. He does that.
Mhm.
And guess what? He became my client. Now he pays 0 income tax, and all his money is
That's-
pre-tax in the life
that
insurance
is-
policy.
Well,
That's
that
amazing.
leads me to the question, because you've implied you'll do this, but let's suppose we all 7 or 8 of us here have our 7 of us here have our funds. We have our clients. We're bringing them in. We're inviting them to come invest with us. How do we then in turn bring them to you for this tax
It's very
advantage
simple.
thing?
Very, very simple. So this is the way it works. So you would, of course, gather your investors, right? You are either individually, you're hunting them, or in a seminar, however you do. Once
Mhm.
they are sort of hooked into your message, and simultaneous to your message is saying, by the way, Mr. Investor, you can invest in our fund one of 2 ways. Number one, post-tax dollars, which you would do normally. Or we have this pre-tax investing strategy that me as a fund manager pays Zach for, because remember, I have TPAs and custodians and a bunch of people behind me that help me put this whole thing together. I mean, as smart as I think I am, I do need other people to put it together,
Right.
like TPAs and such, because there's ERISA, there's actuarial stuff going on. They say, and of course, my fund managers would say to their investors that at that point, if you're interested in being in a 0 income tax and 0 capital gains tax, we'd love to have Zach speak with you. And at that point, they're like, done. So then you will say, hey, Mark, talk to ABC John Doe, the investor. And I talk to John Doe. I set up the pre-tax investing strategy. I pull his money in. We custody the funds at Charles Schwab. So everybody knows Charles Schwab. So they're comfortable that nobody's touching their money and taking off with it. So the money goes to Charles Schwab. It's inside of this tax bubble. And then from that tax bubble, we write the check to your fund.
Okay.
Now your
Nice.
fund goes out and invests in real estate, invest in crypto, invest in businesses, whatever the heck can invest in. They
Mhm.
invested 100,000. It now becomes 150,000. You now have a liquidity event, right? You sold that asset. This 50,000 gain comes right back tax-free, sits in this bubble. Now it's a $150,000 bubble in my example, right? You say, hey, Mr. John Doe, I have a second investment. Now the 150 goes out again. Now it becomes 200,000. It again comes back. It's inside of this tax bubble. Versus every time you have a capital event, it's also a taxable event for the investor. And now, depending on their tax rate, if it's a long term, they could be paying, especially in New York, I have investors, they could pay up to 55% in long-term capital gains tax rate between federal, state, and city.
Wow.
City of New York has its own 4% capital gains tax rate. Los Angeles, Chicago, Atlanta. I think Atlanta has it. The state doesn't have it, but the city has it. It's just pretty crazy. So those guys like literally fall over when I speak with them about this. They're like, my CPA doesn't know, my tax attorney didn't know. And especially outside of real estate guys, just an additional piece of information for you, if I may share this, that when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act happened in 2017, President Trump, prior to 2017, we had 1031 exchange, which everybody today knows it as a real estate thing, right? But prior to 2017, you could also do a personal property, like you can have a yacht, a boat, a car, art, cryptocurrency, whatever, and you could trade one for the other in a 1031 exchange and defer the taxes. But President Trump shut that down, so now it's only available for real estate. So I have 15 separate strategies In fact, I have a very nice form. If I'm able to share this with you, Mark, I don't know, maybe you could ship it off to everybody.
Yeah,
And
happy
you guys
to.
can-
Yeah, put your number in the chat because it didn't come through.
Yeah, I didn't
Oh,
get it.
really? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, no. If you like, I can verbal. It's right here. I see. Oh, you know what? That's what
Sent it
happened.
privately,
I
probably.
gotcha. Oh, it went. I know what happened. 'Cause when I sent it, because Anthony, I guess, had texted me, and it only went to Anthony. Here it is. Boom.
Somebody put the
Okay.
website in there. I didn't type it in right.
Yeah,
I
yeah, no
did.
problem. Here it goes. Here it comes.
Okay.
Okay,
And
here's the
the
website.
other-
too.
And the other thing I was talking about was a QRP. Familiar with
Oh,
that?
qualified retirement plan. Yeah, so is it EQRP?
EQRP,
French?
probably.
Yeah, is that,
Yeah,
how
yeah,
you
yeah.
familiar with that?
You know,
I saw his presentation.
I just literally talked EQRP people, and they are becoming our partner in the next couple of months. Because what's the problem with EQRP? All they're simply doing is
Qualified.
it's the same thing. The top limitations are the same. You know, 15,000 in a 401k, or with a profit sharing plan, 68,000. All EQRP is doing different is that you, just like a private placement life insurance, it's the same concept, but now you can invest in your own real estate deal, or this deal, or that deal, or other private placement types. So that's all EQRP is.
Okay.
Nothing different, but I'm talking about the tax code. Big difference.
Okay.
So if you go by the tax code, it's only giving you $68,500 ceiling. I'm raising that ceiling to 10 million.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's a very tall ceiling. So if you
Okay.
can find people who are making big money, they would kiss your feet, literally, because that's what they beg their accountants to do every day. Hey, I just made 10 million. Last year I made 5 million. I made double. Help me pay less taxes.
Yeah.
Now you have
Zach,
a solution. Yes,
Are you okay with me sharing this information to the rest of the community?
absolutely. That's exactly what
Okay.
I'm here for. I mean, I was just telling Ben earlier, I said, listen, you know, I'm bringing a wealth of investment and tax planning knowledge. And you know, let me help you guys bring millions of dollars in.
Okay.
Now,
And-
is it just corporate, or is it personal and corporate you can do this?
Everybody, doesn't matter.
Everybody?
Personal, corporate, doesn't matter. The only requirement I have is they have to be a US person. And a person does not mean a human being. It could be an LLC, it could be a C
I was just
corp, it
gonna
could be
say,
any
anybody the IRC defines as person.
person, exactly.
So
a person does not mean a
W2?
human being.
W-2 income is fine.
Absolutely. W-2, 1099, K-1, doesn't matter.
Because
Corporation,
because in my
partnership.
corporation, I don't take a salary. That's why. And I was trying to figure, and the reason I was thinking ahead, as far as you made me think about how certain projects that I'm involved with, where they do, you know, the one where you do them in the development zones, and then you get that 10-year.
Yeah, that's just a capital gains tax play. I
Right.
can help you shortcut that capital gains tax issue. You don't have to wait 10 years in a development zone or in a, what do you call it, the opportunity zone.
Right.
You don't have to worry
opportunity
about that.
zone. Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to mess with that. And there, let me tell you, in my personal, you know, view, they are
Mhm.
like really in horrible, horrible parts of town. Those are the opportunity zones.
Well, it was the whole purpose for it to
Yeah.
bring money to those areas.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, you don't have to be bound to that just because you think you have a capital gains tax. And remember, who knows 10 years? 10 years is a long time away.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I
Yeah.
like something that's here now. I can touch, feel, taste, right? I don't know what 10 years holds. Who knows? Nobody knows.
Right.
Mhm.
So I'm giving you the power to control your taxation today.
Well, I like the build up where you can put the money in, it goes right in, and then you got that build up in the policy, in the insurance policy. So no, that's beautiful. That is
I
actually.
definitely would like to try this on with the group we're working with, Toby,
Yeah,
just to see if this provides a facet that they're missing. And thereby,
Oh, it definitely-
giving you the facet, we can
question.
partner with Zach on this.
There's
Because-
no question. This is
yeah, my
all
head's spinning.
pre-tax.
Yeah,
Listen, that's the whole strategy. When you bring it, you make
Right there.
not to
Yep.
cut
That's
taxes.
right.
I'm
That's the whole
just
point.
making it easier for any investor to
Yeah.
write the check.
Mhm.
The tax story, I don't care if the fundamental strategy, if you say I'm another real estate fund, I'm another, you know, real estate fund number 10,051, right? Because that's how many, you know, real estate funds are out there.
Mhm.
So imagine you are number 10,052, but you come with a tax carrot. Guess
Mm.
what? They're writing you the
Exactly.
check.
Yeah.
Nobody else. They're blind to everybody else. They're like this. I
Mhm.
see this every single day. Have you guys heard of this group called Bigger Pockets on YouTube?
Yeah. Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Okay. No,
No, I haven't. Bigger
you don't.
pockets?
So bigger pockets.
Oh.
So Brandon Hunter,
They've been
I'm
all
just
over.
about to partner with him to offer this to his investors.
Wow, that's good.
Pre-tax investing. So Brandon Hunter, Robert Kiyosaki is in my. You guys heard of Ty Lopez? I'm
Yep.
in conversation with Ty Lopez right now
Mhm.
to offer. He's been buying companies.
Yeah,
So I'm like, man, I see you put out hundreds of thousands of dollars on YouTube ads. Imagine you do it with a little tax carrot attached to it. What's going to happen? So pretty soon you're going to see YouTube ads and you're going to say, well, we have a tax strategy, and he's going to, and that's me behind that tax strategy. So you'll see those ads in the near future.
yeah. He just bought up a whole bunch of stores. He's a social media
Yeah.
giant. So yeah, he's doing something new. I can't remember what it was, but he's doing something new right now. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's not so much new. He's just buying distressed corporate
Right.
brands. National,
okay,
that's all he's
yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
That's all he's doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry guys if I took somebody else's time for just yapping on here, but I hope you found the information I shared valuable.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. And,
feel
and
free
your
to call
timing
me.
was perfect. Yep,
Yeah,
this was
and then
great.
yeah, and then you have my email address. That's the best way to just reach out to me first. Say, listen, we're part of whatever Shadow Bankers or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah, so like I said, I'm here. I'm part of your community. You're part of me. If we can work together and I can help you guys, if I can make you 100,000 between now and the end of the year, it would make me feel really good about myself. And I do
Yeah.
that very easily.
I think you
An
were.
extra 100
Anthony,
grand.
I think Anthony was the one talking about the 3C, about the note buying the non-performing notes, and I think that fits right in with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing.
Yeah, well-
Anthony, reach out to Zach here. You
yeah,
got
I
his
got-
contact info.
We'll be
can-
reaching
I
out
got
to you
his
too,
number.
Zach.
Yeah, absolutely, Jody. I'd love to hear from you guys.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
Thank you so
I got
much
his
for
number, so
sharing.
I'll be reaching out soon for sure.
Okay.
Sure. Awesome. Awesome, guys. So Mark, what's on the agenda today? What are we discussing?
Well, we're just about done with our time, and we're discussing your program. Did anybody else have any questions or comments they'd like to talk about tonight before we wrap it up? I think this has been beautiful.
Nice.
I
In
have
fact,
one quick.
I inadvertently recorded it. So Zach, if you're okay, I'm going to post it in the community.
Yeah, blast it out.
Okay.
Blast it
Cool.
out there.
All right, Jody, what's up?
Zach, one quick question, because we said that we go through your bubble, but then it would come to our fund, and that's where we would then do the Adagio strategies,
Exactly.
and then it would go
Exactly.
back.
Yeah,
And
I'm just creating a filter.
Yeah.
So instead of this money getting hit with taxation, I'm just hitting it with pre-tax planning. So it does not get hit with taxation. So there's more dollars, and now you
Right.
have more dollars on the other side. That's all.
So yeah, like before it comes to us, it filters through
Wow.
you,
Right.
and then
So
comes
I
to
make
us.
it pre-tax because remember otherwise the guy is like, well, again, I go back to my 100,000. I made $100,000. I want to give you 50,000 into your fund, but that 50,000 is really worth like 70 or 80 because it's after tax dollars.
Right.
But now if you make that same 50,000 pre-tax, in reality, if he still makes 100,000, so just follow me here, it might get a little twisted. He makes 130,000 is taxation, right? Now he gives you 50, right? So if he gave you after tax dollars, which before I showed up, you guys would be only taking after tax dollars, that 50,000 is really as if he gave you 70, except you only see it as 50, but his pocket feels it as if it's 70. You with me? Because there's a dent there, right? But when you flip the same thing I said in reverse, when he gives you 50, it's as if he gave you 50, but in his pocket, he feels he gave you 20 because there was pre-tax money in there. So instead of him writing that portion to the IRS, he just gave it to you. So it's easier for him to write that check. That's the whole idea. How do we make our investors' lives simpler and make them so gravitated, so laser focused on you that your strategy, it's like a afterthought? Because right now you made them 30%, 40%, 50% on their money, 55% on their money. Again, dollar saved is a dollar earned. Easy. It's a very easy story to tell or sell.
Just give
That's
as an
great.
example, just to give you an example. I had, well, I'm actually trying to do this to set this up. I have two funds. I have a real estate fund and a private, equity fund, a hedge fund and a private equity fund. So if I make money in the hedge fund, right? Or, well, I don't want to get too into it too much here, but
Yeah.
if I build that up and then I want to take that money out, obviously I'm taxed on it.
Great point. Thank you for that. So with some additional tax planning, which is income tax planning, I
Mhm.
can have that money come out tax-free.
That's
So
okay.
follow me here, follow me
Right.
here.
Mhm.
Money goes in pre-tax. You didn't pay any taxes, right?
Right.
Comes inside the tax bubble and you invested in Adagio, you invested in real estate, you buy businesses, all this stuff is going inside of this tax bubble.
Right.
Just cooking, getting big, right?
Mhm.
Now you turn the spigot, you want money? If I put another tax strategy in the middle, that money
Right.
comes out tax-free.
Okay.
Tax deductible, tax deferred, tax-free. Does
That-
not get any better than this.
Excellent.
Oh, it
Excellent.
literally puts you in a zero tax bracket.
Through and through.
Yeah.
Through and through. You know, I'll leave you with one last example. I don't know if you guys ever heard of this little unknown guy named Elon Musk.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I don't know how many of you have heard that name, but there's a rich guy named Elon Musk out there, net worth $228 billion. For those of you guys who are going to email me, I'm going to send you back an article where he literally pays zero income tax.
Zero.
The income taxes, the strategies that he uses is what we are using. And I'll be able to share that with you. So you get billionaire strategies in this, being part of this community through me.
Mhm.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
That is fantastic.
So Zach, I got a
Thank
quick
you
question
so
for
much,
you.
Zach.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
welcome.
thanks, Zach.
I'm looking at doing a 506A where
Mm-hmm.
the focus is on education.
Correct.
Is this something that I could
Investment club? Yeah,
provide
absolutely.
education on? And then, of course, obviously the education becomes a selling tool as well, but by making the investor
Same
educated
idea.
on the concept.
Same idea. The tax strategy sits on top of anything you put under it. So tax strategy sits on top. It could be self-directed. It could be 506A, B, C, 401k, JV. I mean, anything.
Anything. Okay.
You could put this tax hat on top of anything and make that income coming in the pre-tax.
Mhm.
So your
Okay.
investment club idea is what you're talking about as a 506A.
Mhm.
Yes, just imagine these regular people who would never run into a guy like me, ever.
Mhm.
The best they ever had was a CPA, and they thought a CPA was a god, right? But yet the guy says, well, you know, plus profits minus expenses equals tax bill. Please write a check.
Mhm.
Where's the value? You know what?
Right.
TurboTax is 1,000 times smarter CPA than any CPA on the planet because it's
Yep.
on the button. The law comes out, they code it in, you put in your info, it knows. There's no human factor, human error involved. So what value is the CPA doing for you? The value comes from what I'm talking about, tax planning, because TurboTax cannot do tax planning. They can only do pluses and minuses, pluses and minuses. Oh, if you fall into this plus minus, this is your tax bracket. Oh, now you get child tax credit. Oh, you make too much money. You know, you make $1 million and you can only contribute pennies into your 401k. Top heavy rules apply. ADP, ACP rules apply, right? All that stuff goes away when you know the tax code. Very powerful stuff.
Excellent.
Okay. Any other questions or thoughts or ideas before we sign off?
Well, Zach made my night, so I'm good.
Mine too.
He did, yeah. And
Awesome,
like I said,
guys.
I typically don't record this session for whatever reason. There are no accidents in the universe. I
Listen,
recorded
it's
this
God's
session.
God's way of
Yeah.
getting this word out to other hundreds and thousands of people are going to hear
So
this.
I will definitely put this up in the community so you can watch it again and make it available to as many people. And as we move forward with our different strategies, I definitely wanted to see Zach's program plugged into ours. And so thank you, Zach, for reaching out again.
Yeah, you're
all
welcome.
but
It's my
giving up
pleasure. I'm
hope.
glad I was able to jump on here today. Yeah, so I just
Yeah.
want you to think of everything I talked about as an umbrella. You can literally put it on top of anything.
Mhm.
You know, if you're into, like, you know, I see these car shows on TV and I'm such a junkie for that on Discovery, where they take these old rusty cars from 50 years ago and they're flipping cars and then they have to pay a tax on this
Mhm.
little profit that they made, like 30%
Mhm.
done. And I'm like, oh my God, I wish I could reach out. So I'm, you
Mhm.
know, so anyway, you can help those people. And especially if you guys know business owners in your area who own McDonald's franchises, like high income earners,
Yeah.
they have to pay taxes every quarter,
Mhm.
every 3 months.
Yep.
Imagine if you went to those people and say, hey, I'm investing a fund that just, looks at pretty birds all day. So I'm making up something silly, right?
Mhm.
Except every dollar you give me, you'll pay 0 taxes every quarter, Mr. Investor. Would you give me the money? But I'll invest,
In a
I'll
heartbeat.
make 1% interest. I'll make 1% gain on it, but you won't pay 30% or 40% every quarter that you're paying. What do you think the guy's going to
Tax-free
say?
in,
I'm
tax-free
being
out.
totally facetious. He
Yeah.
would literally fall over and write you a check. So imagine, I know you guys are very astute, very qualified. Your strategies do 5, 10, 15, 20, 30% return. Now
Right.
you just saved him. So 30 plus 30, you just made him 60% on his money. Guys,
Mhm.
same dollars, 60% return.
Yep.
Talk about doubling your wealth every 2 years. Your net worth doubles every 2 years. You don't need to work that hard. Once you know the tax game, you don't need to work that hard. You'll retire
Yep.
in less than 5 years.
You don't know the pain I was going through trying to strategize to try to help set up an additional vehicle in order to
Well,
bypass the
Francie,
tax.
reach out to me. I'll
Yeah.
help you out, man. I'll get you in a
So
zero
aren't
tax.
you guys
don't have to
glad
work
you
your
were on
business.
the, aren't you glad you were
Yeah.
on the call tonight? I mean,
It's a good one.
wherever you're at, I just helped make you a ton of money. So
Yes, you
thank me
That's
for
exactly
it.
right.
Talk to
Thanks
Zach.
so much.
Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Mark.
So I look forward to hearing from you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for sort of letting me speak for so long. I hope I didn't step on any toes.
not
But
at
yeah,
all.
I'm here to help you guys any which way I
Okay.
can.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you so
Appreciate it.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
guys, everybody have a great evening, and we'll catch you on the flip side next Tuesday.
All right.
Awesome.
Mark.
Thank
Thanks,
you, guys.
everybody.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Have a good
Take
one.
care.